Hi, I'm Bob Herbert. Welcome to OpEd.tv. My guest is Dr. Maya Rockeymoore Cummings, a woman who has worn many hats: consultant, writer, politician, you name it. She was the wife of the extraordinary Congressman Elijah Cummings, who died in 2019. His death was a tremendous loss to a country mired in desperately difficult times. Maya and Elijah were also important figures in my PBS documentary, Against All Odds, The Fight for a Black Middle Class. So it's a great pleasure, Maya, to welcome you to our show and to see you again, even if it is virtually.
It's great to be back with you. Always good to talk with you.
So for those who may be unfamiliar with Congressman Cummings, he was a prominent member of the Democratic leadership in the House, but he was much more than that. I mean, in my view, he was a great man. He was an inspiration to his colleagues, to his constituents, and to the country at large. You knew him best. What was it about Elijah Cummings that made so many people think that he was so special?
I really do think that Elijah saw people for who they were, not through labels, not through filters, not through race, class, gender, but their essence, their spirit. He had this tremendous ability to what he called feel people's spirits. And it kept him grounded. As you well know, he was the son of two preachers raised in, kind of the Christian faith. But, it kept him grounded. And whenever he was in a situation where everyone seemed to be, in disarray, he just remained focused and steady and kept people reminded of the bigger picture, the broader goal. He always said, it's not about you, it's bigger than you. And so, I think that his colleagues and friends, and certainly I did, always appreciated the fact that, he was so committed to social change, but also he was just a steady hand on the ship.
He was truly wonderful, and I know people just say that all the time. They toss it around, but I mean, I really mean it. But I'm late to the game. I mean, there's just all kinds of people who recognize what a wonderful man he was. I loved. We're going to talk about his book in a moment. I loved the introduction by Nancy Pelosi when she talked about his moral clarity, and at a time when that seems to be in short supply, that was also extremely welcome. The book, which was published posthumously and which you contributed to, is called We're Better Than This, My Fight for the Future of Our Democracy. There it is, right on. Yeah. And there he is. I get emotional just seeing a photo of him. What was it that prompted him to write that book? What was it that he was trying to say?
Well, first of all, I'd been on him for like 8 years to write a book. I felt like he had so many great stories that I really wanted the world to hear his stories. But, everything fell into place literally within about a year and a half, within the last year and a half of his life. We found a collaborator for him, and he was able to tell his story. But the two primary reasons he wanted to tell his story was, one, he wanted to inspire young people. Elijah had been through so many obstacles in his life, born in the segregated South as an African American. He knew what it was like to be excluded in this society. He also knew what it was like to be labeled special education as a young kid. He had so many obstacles. He was from a poor family. They were from the South. They moved to Baltimore for better opportunities. And so, Elijah wanted young people to see that he had huge obstacles and he was able to rise. And, as long as he continued to pursue his dreams, he was able to rise and achieve them. He wanted to inspire young people. And the second was Donald Trump. He wanted to warn the American people that Donald Trump was a dangerous man. Right. And not just unfit for the position, as many people said during Donald Trump's term and even before it, but also a threat to our humanity. He saw, what happened at the border because he was responsible for overseeing, as the chairman of the Oversight and Reform Committee. Right. He thought that the Trump administration and Trump in particular had a cruelty streak that was, really illustrated in terms of how they ripped those families apart and
Yeah.
tore kids away from their parents. And he thought that a second term of Trump would bring that out full force. And then the last thing is he thought he would be a direct threat to our democracy, that he had no respect for our form of government, and that if he had a second term, he would tear apart our democracy brick by brick.